Does West Side hip hop only consist of L.A. and Oakland? Like y'all leave Seattle out and all the other cities and whatnot. So is it only Oakland and L.A. when it comes to West?
Nah. You have to have the mentality. Like it's a West Coast mentality. So back in the day, you know, the Ghetto Boys was considered West Coast. So it's just how you feel, you know, because some people can be out here, be from the East Coast, and then, you know, that's how they act. But if you have a true West Coast heart, then that goes all the way up to what, Washington? I don't know the map. I didn't go to school.
So Jason, why you think that the Ghetto Boys is West Coast? Because they copied off NWA? I don't get it.
Well, they had that kind of sound.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they turned into
some gangster stuff. Yeah.
Then they turned into down south. Like later, they became, you know, the OGs of down south. But down south wasn't really out there like that until, you know, the Ghetto Boys and Do or Die and you know, that kind of those kind of groups.
What would you say the formula of West Coast hip hop is? Is there a formula? You talk about that sound. What is that distinct sound?
Well, it's when you speak about where you from, you know, and people was always fascinated with Hollywood and people fascinated with that kind of lifestyle. So when you from the West Coast and from LA, people are usually fascinated by how we get down. You know, there's not a whole bunch of movies about other places. You know what I'm saying? We got Boys in the Hood, Men's Society, you know, all these stuff, and then people are fascinated by, you know, how we get down.
No, we had an argument. Remember we had an argument the other day? Because I was talking about, I said my top 5 rappers, and I put Pac in my top 5 rappers, and all of them East Coast. And he's like, and I said, well, Pac, they said, well, you don't have a West Coast rapper. I said, well, Pac is a West Coast rapper in a sense. And it's like, he ain't really a West Coast rapper.
What? Yeah, no, he is a West Coast rapper.
Well, y'all killed him.
Listen to the music. I didn't kill. They killed him.
Oh, they killed him. Okay.
Have y'all listened to the music?
That's West Coast rapping, right?
Have you listened to the music?
That's what I'm saying.
Definitely.
I know he started off in Baltimore, New York, or whatever, but then he came to, you know, L.A. Not L.A., but Oakland, and the Bay Area, and then down to L.A.
He definitely started in Oakland. When I was listening to him, he was in Oakland, because I got, like, the first one was Tupacalypse Now. And you can hear all LA flavor on that.
But you know what the old saying is, right? It ain't where you from, it's where you at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
It is where you at. Right. But you can definitely take the West Coast no matter where you go. Hip hop and comedy is almost parallel and the same thing. We talk about the same thing, we just talk about it in a funny way. It was crazy for me to go to New York and see how New York comedians was getting down. They weren't talking about the same things that LA comedians was talking about. And it's only a handful of real LA comics that are born bred and talk about things from LA. Like when I first came out, I was always talking about streets, talking about selling drugs, talking about, and being funny with it. But saying some serious shit, but being funny with it.
Right.
Because that's what I saw in West Coast music back in the day.
You can always tell a West Coast dude, they've got that real fly shit.
That real fly shit. But especially South Central. South Central dudes, we stand in the motherfucking
like that.
T. You know what I'm saying? They go from one side. You see a nigga from South, he'll step, bam. And they go back over there like, bam. That's how you know West. You see that T? That's how you know West Coast. That's the T.
So why you feel so crooked, Drain out?
That's how you know, baby. That's how you know you talking to a real guy from LA.
You gotta spread it out, man.
Yeah. And somewhere in the conversation, he gonna hit you with a whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-wink. That's bona fide.
That's funny you talk about the difference between West Coast, East Coast, Chicago right now. The Midwest kind of blowing up the comedy game.
It was crazy, though. It was crazy because we would all meet in New Orleans and do Comic View. And to see these brothers talking about the things that was going on in their neighborhoods, too. But for me, I just wanted to stand out and talk about things that was going on in South Central because that's where I'm from. And I was talking about, you know, selling. I was the first dude to talk about crackheads on Comic View. If you really look and talk about the things that was affecting my life at that time. And I was street, selling dope. My uncle was a crackhead, crackheads in my family. I went crackhead crazy. Because that's all I knew. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And then to go over there and be in New Orleans and watch these cats be like, oh, you talking about that? Yeah, that's what I would, that's all I know.
Right,
I'm from the streets.
And you know, Sir Jinx is really a West Coast pioneer. He just don't get his just due.
Yes, sir.
You know what
So
I'm
give him his just due. Let's give it to him, man.
A little bit behind the scenes.
Come on, Buck Jinx. You've been a part of a lot of big records that people don't know about. So you know, you Dr. Dre's cousin. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you've seen him in the movie. You know what I mean? People didn't know that was, you know, Jinx. You know what I mean? But
well, somebody acting like whenever I say that, people look at me like, you wasn't in the movie. You look too old to be in the movie. I'm like, nah, it was somebody acting like me.
What was that first album you did with Take Me Back? What was one of the first records you did back in the day that was a hit? on the West Coast.
He said it was a hit.
It was a hit.
Probably like the people remember mostly the America's Most Wanted record.
Fire. Me and Jinx and y'all don't know who Johnny J is. Johnny J.
We know Johnny J.
Johnny J was our good friend. We all went to high school together, which was crazy. All of us went to the same high school together. Would sit and joke and laugh and bag on each other every day. And the thing I met because I was out hustling doing my thing and they were blowing up. And I would see him in other towns. So I'm like, hey, remember? I would, I had money. I would go to the front and, pay my way to the front, be sitting up there in front, seeing these niggas. I went to school with these. Right. I would see Yo-Yo. I went to school with her too. I'd be just like, what?
And that's another one. One of the first ones was the Yo-Yo record. My Yo-Yo record. I did that record and a whole bunch of. I did Coogee Rap. Coogee Rap album.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, me and my buddy was talking about it. And I'm the first person to produce an entire East Coast artist record. We were trying to merge.
Who was that?
Coogee Rap.
Okay.
So back in the day, a lot of rappers didn't do a lot of producers didn't do the whole record. I did the whole record. And we thought that was merging the East Coast when that East Coast West Coast thing was going on a long time ago. They just wouldn't accept us. So when they let me do the whole album, that kind of just bridged the gap right there. A lot of producers.
Another thing he did that I like that Jinx brought, and I'm not quite sure if he was the first, but I do remember talking to you years ago about it, and you said that you were the first to put it on the scene. He was the first one to put the animation into the music.
The skits.
The skits and all of that, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Actually, I got it from De La Soul.
De La Soul, okay.
De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. And it was like a comic book at first. And then I just wanted ours to look like you turn in the channel. I wanted America's Most Wanted, a lot of music I wanted to do. I wanted people to be in their car and actually feel like they was from the West Coast. We did the drive-by, we did the funeral, we did, and those kind of things tap into people like that went to college.
The news reports and all that stuff.
Right. Make you feel, you put your headphones on and when you go to college or, wherever you go, you could take a little bit of LA with you.
Exactly. Yeah, you press play and you're just going on a journey, man. It's taking you through the whole album, man.